Video in order to describe the steps to creating a space game, trying to help our main character, this little astronaut, find her way back to her home planet. In this video, we're going to focus on creating the main character and how to create these various planets in Scratch. So I'm opening a new screen, and this is what Scratch would look like when you open it. You're automatically given the cat character. So in order to choose a new character, we would go down here to this button that says choose a sprite. The characters are called sprites. And when I click on this, I will now see all the different choices for my character or my sprite. And I'm going to choose let's scroll down and find my alien sprite. If you wanted a different sprite, you could choose a different one. And there she is. I click on her and you'll see there's different versions of her. We'll talk about that later. So when I click on her, now she'll appear on my screen over here, and down here I have a little icon of her, and now I have a problem. I don't want my cat sprite anymore. He's not going to be in my game, so all I need to do is go down here and click the little X and he will disappear. So now I have one sprite who's going to be my main character. But she's quite large and she's going to take up a lot of my screen. So I might want to make her smaller. And to do that, you'll see down here there is a size feature where you could decide what size your sprite is going to be. So if I erase there, it says 100. Let's say I change it to 50 and press enter. Look how she shrunk, 50% smaller. That's a little small. Let's see what happens when we make her 65. Okay, let's try that for now. Okay, and in addition to my main character, if we look back here, we're also going to need these different planets. We have Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and of course our little dwarf planet Pluto. So let me show you how I created these characters. Going back to our new screen, and here again, I'm going to go back to my sprites and look through what my options are. Okay, so these planets, you'll notice, are not here. I created them by using a different sprite and changing the way it looks. And what I chose was just a simple ball. Okay, you'll see the ball can be different colors. When I click on that ball, okay, I now have my little astronaut alien sprite, and I have my orange ball. Okay, now let's say I decide I would like this sprite character ball to be Mercury. Okay, so I can change the size. We know that. I can make it smaller, bigger, and I can change the way it looks as well. So if I'm clicking on this sprite, I have to make sure that this is clicked and not this, because then I'm going to be working on the wrong sprite. So I'm clicking on my ball sprite. Okay, and the first thing I can do actually is I can go in here where it says sprite, and I can change the name of my sprite, and I'm going to name this sprite Mercury. And that's going to become very important later when I have multiple sprites with multiple planets to keep track of which sprite is which planet. Okay, and then up here I have a tab called costumes. So I'm going to go up to my costumes tab, and when I click on there, I see my sprite much larger. And I have a few different features. So here, first of all, we have different versions of this sprite, and we'll talk about what those do in a little bit. And let's say I want to change the color. So I can go to fill, right? And I can try to change the saturation. I think I want Mercury to be a little bit maybe browner, like a rust color. I'm not quite sure, honestly, but let's choose a reddish brownish color for Mercury, okay? And then up here, okay, we can, well, let's see what happens when we do that. Oh, it didn't apply. Let's try that again. Okay, so here, swap this for that. And let's try to make this nice brown color. And they're showing up very nice. And if I click up here, the shadow changes, right? So here we have the light source coming from the left, and if I would change the light source, it would be coming from the top right, and here if I would change it, light source would be coming from the center. Okay, I think that I kind of like that. It's personal preference. So here's my new sprite, and if you'll show it shows up right here on the screen. in the new version, and you'll notice down here it's saying Mercury, okay? And we're gonna make Mercury pretty small. So let's see what happens when we make Mercury 50%. Well, that's pretty small. All right, now I'm gonna need to do this several times. For right now, I'm just gonna move our sprites around. You'll notice there's an X and a Y axis, which shows you where your sprite is located. And we'll talk more about that in a different tutorial when we talk about how to move sprites and choose their locations. But for now, I'm just going to place them where I want them, just to organize them on the screen, and I might move them a little bit later. So now I have my first planet, and I'm going to need to do this 8 more times. And